We're going to be making some fish tacos tonight for our friend Parker. I'll just get the camera on here and get ready. Give people a few minutes to join in. So I originally got this recipe from a good friend of mine in Fairbanks, Alaska, Shirley Winther. And we used this recipe when she came to visit for a tournament about 2 years ago. And that summer we had gone fishing and we brought back halibut and we brought back some black sea bass, which was super delicious. And I forgot to buy whitefish, so we're actually going to use salmon. And my husband had fish tacos with salmon in it, traveling back and forth from here to Alaska, and he thought they were really good that way, so we're going to be using salmon. And I've got a cast iron skillet here we'll be using. I have olive oil. And this recipe calls for, you can just buy a bag of prepared coleslaw blend if you'd like, but I'm actually going to mix up my own from scratch using stuff that I think I would like in my fish tacos, but if you don't like any of the vegetables that I use tonight, feel free to add the kind you do like. So give it 5 more minutes here before we get started with cooking. Give Parker a chance to join in. Got my hot tea here. I'm probably the only person in Nevada that likes hot tea as opposed to cold tea. It looks like we have somebody joining in. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and heat my skillet up. I find that cast iron cooks better with a little bit of heat on it, right? Something about the pores getting hot, they seal together and they become somewhat non-stick. You do need a little bit of iron. Sorry, I can't talk tonight. You need a little bit of olive oil. You could use coconut oil if you want to. And to start, we're going to be using pre-made flour tortilla shells, and I just trimmed mine to be the same shape as these really cute little taco shell holders. I got these off Amazon. They're not expensive at all. And we're going to try to get this done in an hour, and we may even be faster. But I went ahead and I pre-chopped all my vegetables to make this go faster for y'all. So let me see if I can aim in here. So back here we have 2 cups of shredded cabbage. We have a 1/2 cup of chopped yellow bell pepper. We have a 1/3 cup of chopped tomatillas. And basically that's just one big tomatilla. And if you haven't had tomatillas, they're kind of an interesting flavor. They're kind of sweet, and they, in my opinion, have sort of a rhubarb banana taste, but they taste great in Mexican food. I have a large shredded carrot. I have a 1/2 cup of loosely chopped cilantro. If you don't like cilantro, don't use it. My daughter does not like cilantro. It tastes like soap to her. And I shredded 3 radishes. And we also have about a 1/4 cup of red onion. Use as much as you'd like. So other ingredients we have here, which are also optional. I'm using my own homemade yogurt here. I have a cup of it. You could use mayonnaise. You could use sour cream. We have some sriracha sauce here. And this is to taste. It's not a specific measurement. We also have a homemade version of Chef Paul's black and red fish seasoning. And what I found is just about any recipe that you see in the store that's commercially prepared, you can actually find a recipe online to make it yourself. But I will later this evening go back in the comments and add in, thank you. They're going to be pretty good. This will be like the 3rd time I've made them. But This is the blackened redfish seasoning. I will later tonight go back in after dinner and type in the ingredients for this. You can find this online. This is the fish taco recipe that my friend gave me, and I'm gonna vary from it just slightly, but this is the fundamental recipe right here. You can see that, and I'll put that online too in the comments. And this is the back side. I'll add that in. I'm not gonna specifically totally follow the recipe, but you're gonna like it. It's gonna be pretty good. So we have our olive oil heating up right here. First thing we're gonna wanna do is we're going to wanna just cook our flour tortilla shells just a little bit. And I'm gonna go ahead and turn this oven on bake on a low setting for 200. Because once we do our shells, we're gonna wanna keep them warm, right? So go ahead and put these in. Now, cast iron will add some color. We'll add some color. It's, when you cook with it, a little bit of it always comes off on your food, so it's actually good for you. It'll keep you from being anemic, right? So we'll go ahead and start with that. Get that up to temperature, and while that is coming up, let's go ahead and mix our coleslaw together. Oh, looks like we have somebody leaving us special messages again. Oh, you'd like to try it? That's awesome. All right, so let's go ahead and mix our coleslaw up, right? So we have the cabbage, it's 2 cups, and we're gonna add in our shredded carrots. We're gonna add in, wait, let me see if I can change that angle a little bit for y'all. How's that? A little better? I'm still learning with this tripod here. Make sure it's not gonna fall. I think I got it pretty good there. Okay, let's go ahead and add our bell peppers. And I'm probably making a lot more of this than I need, but there's no such thing as too much salad in this house. And we have some tomatillo, some chopped red radish, some red onion, and we're gonna wait to cut up the avocado to right before we serve the food so it stays nice and fresh. And thank you, I'm glad you think it's delicious. And let me grab a fork. And keep an eye on that flour tortilla so we don't accidentally burn it, right? And we're not trying to cook it, we're just, you know, getting a little oil on it, getting it a little hot, and then we'll put it in our taco stand and stick it in the oven. Let's go ahead and mix our vegetables up here. These tacos are super delicious. I really enjoy them. I didn't know that I would enjoy fish tacos, but I had them once traveling, and then I had them when we made them for the first time for a little group get together. And I really loved them. Okay, so this is our basic vegetable mix. Let's go ahead and mix up our sauce. I'm gonna put the sauce inside with the veggies. So let's go ahead and just add some sriracha here. Just a little bit. That can get pretty spicy, so be careful about adding too much too fast. And this is the juice of a lime. Let's go ahead and put that in. And I'll keep this right here in case we feel like we need a little bit more. And let's go ahead and stir this up. And we'll give it a quick taste before we mix it into the vegetables. I like to add the sauce into the vegetables and let it kind of sit there a little bit while we're making the rest of it. Let's get back over here to the shell. And you don't want to overdo it. You can kind of see how this looks, right? It's just lightly browned. So in other words, it'll end up being too stiff. Let's see, let's just fold that in like that. Perfect. And do the next one. All right, so I'm going to give this a little taste and see if I feel like it's adequate. I think I want a little more sriracha. Just a little bit more. This is totally to taste though. Ooh, and I almost forgot. A teaspoon of sugar. For some reason that always goes really good on cabbage, right? All right, let's stir that again. Give it a little try. Pretty good. mix this in with our vegetables. Okay, you got a visual there, that's great. And I think the sauce is pretty important because nobody wants to eat dry coleslaw, right? If you don't like sauce, you don't have to put it on there, but I think your coleslaw would be kind of dry without it. Let's go ahead and flip our tortilla shell. There we go. Pop that one in here. Do the next one. Get up a little bit more in here. Add a little bit of oil. My oven's letting me know it's up to temperature. Just trying not to set off the smoke alarm would be good, right? Let me just turn this fan on for just a moment. There we go. We got that under control. If you get your stovetop smoking too much, pretty soon you'll have your smoke alarm going off, and that's never any fun. So we're mixing our dressing into our coleslaw. And again, if you don't want to be creative and make your own coleslaw, just buy a bag of coleslaw. Works great too. Just kind of push your tortilla down into your taco holder. Enough oil there. As soon as we get done with these flour tortillas, we're going to go ahead and get our fish going. And in the past I've always made this with like a white fish, but I think the salmon's going to be really good also. And thank you, Full Throttle. I'm glad you think it looks delicious. Thank you. Appreciate that feedback. I think adding different types of vegetables in with your cabbage gives it a lot more flavor. And that's kind of why I chose to make my own. It's kind of an interesting thing about cilantro. Different people taste it differently. Like some people genetically, they taste cilantro and they taste soap. And that's why my daughter doesn't like cilantro, but I personally love it. There we go. Let's go ahead and put our taco shells in the oven. I only have the oven on 200 because we're not looking to overly cook our taco shells. We just want to keep them warm now that we've cooked them, right? And let's just see. Too hotness is a good idea. I know this pan isn't hot, but the oven's hot. All right, we'll just put that in there. Keep those warm. And we are ready to work on the fish part of this process. So while we're cooking the fish, I'll tell you what's in the seasoning. And it took me a while to learn how to cook with cast iron, but I actually really like it a lot. And I like coated enamel sometimes too. And I have stainless steel as well. And I just use different types of surfaces for different things. So let's go ahead and just put some of this seasoning on our fish. It's kind of a Cajun type seasoning, right? And you can buy this Chef Paul's black and red fish if you want at the grocery store, or you can just do what I did and go online and get a recipe. And the nice thing about this seasoning mix is it actually lasts for a long time. So if you make the effort to make your own, you're going to have quite a bit of it. So this has 1 teaspoon of paprika, 2.5 teaspoons of salt, and I use the Redmond Ancient sea salt. It has 1 teaspoon of onion powder, 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, a teaspoon of cayenne, 3/4 teaspoon of pepper, 3/4 teaspoon of black pepper, a 1/2 teaspoon of thyme, and a 1/2 teaspoon of oregano. Super easy. And I'm going to want to make sure that I keep plenty of oil in this pan, just so I don't accidentally burn it or stick to the pan. I'm not really into frying, I'm more into sauteing. And the one thing that we're going to have to watch with the salmon is salmon can have more bones in it. So we're going to want to be really careful not to get any bones in our tacos, right? And I always caution anybody who's eating the tacos to watch for bones. So while this is cooking, it doesn't take too long to cook salmon, but while it's cooking, let's go ahead and prepare our avocado. And I'm going to show you something really cool. You may already know how to do this trick, but my friend Shirley showed me this in Fairbanks, Alaska. If you're watching, Shirley, thank you. But the easiest way to get your avocado out of the shell is with a spoon. Did everybody know that already? There we go. Let's flip it over like that. And then I'm just going to slice it, and we'll put 1/4 of each avocado on each taco. It'll be garnished. And the sugar is also to taste. If you like your coleslaw a little sweeter, feel free to add a little more sugar. But the recipe calls for 1/2 teaspoon. And I did skin the salmon when it was partially frozen. It was much easier to get the skin off of it that way. Normally when I cook salmon, I bake it. And so this is the first time I've actually pan-fried skinless salmon on the stove top. But it was very easy to get the skin off while it was frozen. And I just took the salmon, the fillet, and set it down like this. I held onto the skin with one edge, and then I took my knife and I just pushed hard, keeping the blade flat like this. You see what I'm doing? And just pushed hard like this, all the way across, and the skin came off really easily. Let's go ahead and get 2 plates out so that when we're ready to assemble these, we will have our plates. This is actually going together quite quickly. Salmon is almost cooked, not quite. You don't want to overcook it, but you don't want to undercook it either. And we're just going to take our taco holders and put them right into our plates. I'm just breaking the salmon up into chunks. Oh, you might want to see that a little better. Let's come over here. Sorry about that. There we go. Kind of breaking it into chunks. That'll also help me to see whether or not there's any bones in there too, right? And it looks like these fillets were done pretty nicely. I'm not really seeing a whole lot of bones, so I'm happy for that. Normally I would never do this with salmon, only for tacos. This is going to be so delicious. And I guess breaking it up a little bit like this makes it easier to get it all the way cooked too. We're getting really close here. Let's just go ahead and turn the heat off on this because cast iron stays pretty hot. And let's go ahead and pull our shells out and get ready to assemble. All right, let's do that. Put you back up over here. All right. There we go. Let's get our pot holders back. Turn the oven off. And I'm just going to take these out one at a time and put them on the plates. And because I did all this prep work, this is going together really quickly, like much faster than I thought it would. So now all we have to do is just go ahead, let's mix our coleslaw a little bit. Now the recipe my friend gave me had you drizzling the dressing onto the shells before adding the coleslaw, but by the time you get all this coleslaw in here, you really don't need to do it. It kind of does it at the same time, in my opinion. Let's go ahead and add some coleslaw. Let's mix it a little bit. Let's see if we can fix that. Yep, we can. Y'all think you could try this? It's not hard at all. It's going to be super delicious. And let's go ahead and add some fish. And I kind of think it might be easier to use tongs for that. Oh, it smells so good. Oops. Drop it. And let's put on our avocado slices. This part gets a little bit messy, but I don't think anybody cares. All right, what do you think? What's in the Pyrex? This one right here, this is the coleslaw mix. After we eat our dinner, I will go back and I'll put the directions in the comments for y'all if you want to see the actual directions in case you joined late. Thanks for joining. I hope you enjoyed making fish tacos tonight. Bon appetit.